Guide to the Camarilla. I was influenced greatly by The Gentleman Gamer and Underwood. Player's Guide. Did I do this already? No. Yeah, I did. Okay. We got the Chicago Chronicles, Volume 1. Bookmark. We have another thing of the Sabbat. And then here's a bunch of the clans. You know, I got, here's another map of Pittsburgh. I like to run Vampire in Pittsburgh. Toreador, Tremere, Bruja, or Bruja, however you want to pronounce it, Ravnos, Ventru, Gangrel, Zamishi, Assamite, and Malkavian. The Malkavian book's a lot of fun to read. Here's the revised version. I tend to like to run 2nd edition. I'm not sure why. Thing of Pittsburgh, because again, I like to run it set in my closest city. And more, this I ran a Hunter. I think it's a Hunter the Reckoning that I ran. Hunter Screen, and all kinds of stuff for Hunter here. We have the Storyteller's Companion, we have Utopia, we have Moonstruck, Survival Guide, and then all the, different, I don't want to call them classes, but we have Defender, we have Judge, Redeemer, Avenger, Innocent, Visionary, and Martyr. And when I played a Martyr, I believe. Okay, then we got my Wraith stuff that I believe was sent here mostly by Andre Martinez. We got Sea of Shadows. We got the Hierarchy. Haunts. It's probably way too glary for you guys, sorry. Dark Kingdoms of Jade adventure. Love Beyond Death. And I've only run one shot of Wraith. So as you probably can tell, I've run a lot of these games, but I'm sorry, that's Midnight Express. But I haven't really ran a lot of campaigns. I think I'm more of a one-shot GM, to be honest. Wraith Player's Guide, Necropolis, Atlanta, and Charnel Houses of Europe. This book, I think I've talked a little bit about it, is very dark. It's about the Holocaust, but I will give this book a lot of credit because I actually learned more about the Holocaust from this book than I did from all the years I was in public school. I think I've said that before in maybe other videos, but highly recommended. Very disturbing, but historically accurate. And then Wraith the Oblivion itself. This is the one that glows in the dark. We got, here's all the stuff. Here's all my prep work for the Carnal Houses of Europe when I ran that at my local gaming club at the convention. Then we just have some random stuff here. Hunters Hunted, Ghouls, Fatal Addiction. I think Andrew sent me that one. We got Elysium, New Orleans by Night, World of Darkness Gypsies, which I think is I heard it's not a very good book, but I haven't actually read through it yet. And Player's Guide to the Sabbat, I have a couple of those. We have the Prince's Primer, which is kind of a fun book to read through. And then we have some books here for like the history of role-playing games. I did a paper on it, and I think it's like 10 videos back from this one. But Playing at the World, very detailed book. Of Dice and Men, which is kind of more of a fun read. And then Empire of Imagination, which is kind of between these two as far as complexity and ease of reading. But I really enjoyed that one. Basic Role-Playing, which is my generic game of choice. I've probably ran about 15 one-shots just with that alone. What's all this? This looks like junk. Secret Societies, kind of a fun little thing I picked up from the History Channel, I guess. Just some maps and things. I like to pick these up, maps from local, like parks and such, just for props, locations I can use, mainly for like modern games. A friend of mine was running a game, and he picked up a couple of these, and they kind of like sit on the table, and you can put images in these and just like set them up while you're running something. And I thought that was very cool and useful. And this is basically like a noisemaker. I mainly got this for the heartbeat for when I ran Vampire, because whenever like they would be feeding, I'd crank this up and it'd have some nice sort of background effect going on there, which I think the players appreciated. I'm realizing that this is going to be a very long series of videos, but this is for Jason out there, so hopefully he appreciates it. Alright, I got a couple more here. We have Nosferatu, we have the Storyteller's Companion, this is all for Vampire, and here's my copy of 2nd edition of Vampire. I have a few Warhammer stuff here. Again, it's not really in order or anything. I have The Terror of Talabheim, I guess. It's the Adventure in the Eye of the Forest. And then we have Karak Osgal, Adventures in the Dragon Crag. Then I have the 2nd edition core book that I printed out, and I basically picked up the PDF before it went out as, before you weren't allowed to buy it anymore. Hello again, and we got some more RPGs on my shelves here. I'm not very good at this. I'm going too slow. Alright, AD&D Player's Handbook. This is the first copy. Very beat up and worn copy. I got it for I got it for $8 at Half Price Books. But this is AD&D stuff here. DMG, Dungeoneer's Survival Guide, Wilderness Survival Guide, Unearthed Arcana, Fiend Folio, and I have another copy of the DMG here, but this is the first copy with the demon on the front there, or the Djinn, I think. First edition of Monsters Manual. We got another Player's. So I think that's the only Player's Handbook I have. Player's Handbook. Oh yeah, there's that first one I showed you. But this one is a different cover, and I kind of like the revised covers. It turned out good. Monster Manual 2. Another Monster Manual here. This is a different cover again. These are the ones that my neighbor, his older brother, had, so I guess they're a little bit more nostalgic for me. Greyhawk Adventures, Deities and Demigods. I think this is the Dungeon Master screen. Temple of Elemental Evil, Scourge of the Slave Lords, the Dwarven Kingdoms of Krynn. This is all my Jikander stuff, which is like an island setting for AD&D 2nd edition. I kind of like, I don't know why, I really like island settings. Probably because there's only so much terrain. These are all the Eye of Pain AD&D adventures. They're all based off the Beholders from Eye Tyrant. Eye of Pain, I really like this one a lot. Eye to Eye and Eye of Doom. So I think I've ran Eye of Pain like 3 times now, and it's just a lot of fun. This is an AD&D 2nd edition setting. Dara Koros, and he used to be a YouTuber, BG Trokia, and he printed this up for me and sent it to me a long time ago. And I haven't heard from him in a long time. I don't think if he's out there, he doesn't really comment or, whatever. These, I think this is my first video I ever did was on these. The Encyclopedia Magica for AD&D has lots of stuff in there, lots of items. They're useful for any campaign setting. These are all spells, wizards, Spell Compendium 1 through 4, AD&D. Jason, I'm actually going to be sending you some of this. Well, not this stuff, but I sent you some of the 2nd edition stuff. This is the stuff I'm going to keep. Kind of get cramped back here, so I'll try to stay out of the way. Monster Mythology, complete book of Gnomes and Halflings, complete book of Dwarves. These are all great. Complete book of Elves, Campaign Source Book and Catacomb Guide, Demi-Humans of the Realm, complete book of Humanoids. And I think that's mostly my 2nd edition stuff. I guess there's some stuff down there too. And then there's some 3.5 3rd edition stuff. Deities and Demigods, Player's Handbook 3.5, Monster Manual 2, Frost and Fur, which is a really good thing for my Marth Iceworld setting. I really like that one. DMG 3.5, Races of Destiny, Races of the Wild, Fantasycraft, which is a different D20 sort of fantasy game. I like how many different character races you can play. And I got 2 copies of the Ultimate Arcane Guide. Arcane Guide? Arcane Spellbook. I use this for my Mars campaign especially. We got Monster Manual 3.5, and then the 3rd edition Dungeon Master's Guide. I have the 3rd edition Player's Handbook and monster manual somewhere, but I'm not really sure where. For a long time, those were underneath my bed, just because our mattress wasn't very good. Oh yeah, here's some more Hunter stuff. We've got Hunter Holy War, Storyteller's Handbook, and Hunter the Reckoning. We got these two. AD&D Adventure Pack 1, the Book of Lairs 2, and the Book of Lairs. Those are kind of helpful for different encounters and things. Sword and Sorcery, the Creature Collection. I've heard a lot of people say this is a great book, and I think I have a second copy of that. Yeah, here it is here. So maybe I'll end up giving that to somebody in the future. We'll see. Just jailing it there for now. We have these dungeon tiles that I was given, and I'll probably give these away to somebody in the future too. Really don't use a lot of miniatures for things. Alright, got some more books here. You can see why the people who moved me hated seeing boxes that said RPGs on it. Alright, start off, 5th edition, Monster Manual. We have my modified Player's Handbook here. Kind of went through and changed some things. The Dungeon Master screen, an unaltered Player's Handbook, in case I ever want to give it to somebody else. Just got some character sheets there, the Dungeon Master's Guide, and I just picked this up fairly recently. I actually got a copy of the Volo's Guide, the special edition cover here, so I was really glad to see that. Storm King's Thunder and Sword Coast Adventures Guide. We have Dungeon Crawl Classics, number 29, The Adventure Begins. This is just a bunch of one-shot adventures, and I've used this a couple times. It's actually a really useful book. I believe this is my Holmes version of No, I'm sorry. Is this Holmes? I think this is Holmes. I'm not sure. I can't keep track of all that stuff. It's basically the basic and expert rules. I also have monster treasure assortment. Wish I could see if this is Holmes or not. Yeah, I'm not sure. Someone will probably yell at me. I believe this is Holmes. When I start taking notes on that, and I got another copy of Keep on the Borderlands in there. Hey. Could probably give that to somebody too, I guess, huh? Maybe I should do that.